Yo, ladies and gentlemen, this is your host today, Sven Milder, and today, in day number 5 of the 7-day Fund Fast series, part of the Get Funded formula, we're going to discuss a term that I coined myself, which is what I like to call the investor seduction lane. I mean, it could almost be a movie title, right? Um, Taking into account that you have been watching the fundraising journey, taking into account that you have been watching the comparison between raising capital and dating for love, then you know by now that there is a significant amount of similarities. And while you go out for to hunt for love, you know, one of the things that we do is that we carefully take our steps moving forward to a date, taking care buying the right presents, taking care saying the right things, taking care presenting ourselves in the correct ways, taking care that we ask maybe for exclusivity on the right times. And if you know that and you know how important it is, and maybe you look to your significant other while I'm sharing this with you, you think like, yeah, I made quite some engineered steps to get her or him in my life. Or maybe even you are busy hunting for love right now. I mean, or you are a founder, you're significantly super busy, you don't have time for it. But the main key that I wanted to discuss today is the investor seduction lane, which is very similar in terms of making your partner want you. And just imagine if and I have shared this on webinars as well before, that if you would stand in the middle of a club, right? And let's assume you're a guy, and you would put your hand on someone's shoulders and like, hey, do you want to go home with me? Then the chance is very big that that other person will say like, are you out of your bloody fucking mind, right? Is that really the best what you can do? And then what happens is that you have actually destroyed the opportunity, likely, that person is going to fall in love with you, right? Um, that's simply not going to happen. Now, once you do the right thing at the right time, so in another moment, let's say, hey, you dance very nicely. I would like to offer you a drink. Would you spare a few minutes? I'm sure it's worth your time. And then you start sharing a bit more about yourself. The other person falls a bit more in love with you. They are comfortable in sharing maybe their phone number or their Instagram with you. And then the hunt really starts, right? So that's what we're going to discuss in the investor seduction lane. And that's the moment that you really ask like, oh, hey, do you want to go out straight away, jump in my bed? Is actually the same like you're hitting an investor in their face with a $500,000 fund ask and you only come with a pitch deck. That's just not going to work, right? At least not in my world, and at least not how I would advise you to do so. So, what is it? What is the investor seduction lane? Now, the first thing that you really need to understand is that the investor is that super hot chick or that super hunk, that everyone wants to date with. And that person has a significant attraction, and that person also have, in this case, the investor, bags full of money in their pocket. But the thing is, everyone wants it, right? Everyone literally wants to have their attention. But you also need to know is that the investor needs to invest to drive profits, to drive returns for their limited partners. So the great news is they want to date with you, but because there's so much choice and there's a large selection, they will be very careful who they want to move forward with, yes or no. And any investor starts his or her investment analysis with actually 100 no's to make sure that if they say like, okay, yes, I would like that, to de-risk the investment opportunity properly. So it's our task as founder, knowing that yes, they want to invest in you, knowing that, hey, you're not something special, but hey, if you can turn my 100 no's into 100 hell yeses, that by itself would open up the door for you to do business with them. So the problem is that founders go out for the hunt for funds equipped with a book thick pitch deck, asking for funds on their first date, right? And worse, they're asking $500,000 on cold ass relationships. And that's simply not going to work. Sometimes it is if you are a founder that has demonstrated previous exits, demonstrated growth, demonstrated that you have built multiple businesses, but it's not working like that because, as I quickly briefly shared with you, in our Date Your Investor framework, this is similar to asking for a one-night stand, right? While the chance of getting one is actually almost nihil. I mean, at least it doesn't work with me. I'm not sure how well equipped you are. And more likely is if you approach it from that kind of way, yeah, you will never ever see that person again. So in short, you are too fast, too rushed. You're doomed to lose control because you don't control the outcome. Let that sink. When you go out for funds, you want to see it as a funnel, right? And you want to, as much as possible, control the outcome, right? Over the process. And you want to avoid failure, right? So you can imagine, and that's what we do. That's what I have done as well. If we have our pitch deck, and we try everything that is hidden in our brain to put into that pitch deck because that's how the Web Famous playbook has been teaching us, yeah, then it's just likely that someone gets bored with us. It's almost the same when you're sitting on a first date and that other person is keep on talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. And the first 5 minutes, that's nice, but after that, you're a little bit done with it, right? So what if you could change the roles and you would listen more? So you just give someone enough to ask more back. Now, before I go to the next slide, does that make sense? Does it make sense that if you just give bite-sized pieces that are interesting enough to your investor, and with interesting enough, I mean you have you're giving so much that they constantly think, "Oh, nice! Oh, wow, this looks really good." You want to give them the yes pattern. Ask for more. You want to really engineer something where someone is always asking for more. You want your clients to ask for more, your customers to ask for more, your investors to ask for more, your wife, your husband to ask for more. You want to be in control, and you're not in control if you give everything. Now, I would almost say, give me a thumbs up if this is a live version, but unfortunately, this is not live. This is me talking to a screen, trying to convey a message to you, helping you to succeed with your journey, right? So, put it in your mind, the pitch deck by itself is good, but what if you can, crystallize your whole investor journey and your whole investor opportunity in bite-sized pieces, and each bite-sized piece says, interesting, I want more, right? So this is the concept of the investor seduction lane. And please do me a favor. If you're talking with other founders, if you're talking into our membership area, if you're talking in later on, if you choose to, in our accelerator, if you talk into our Get Funded Formula Facebook group, and you're referring to this, let's coin this investor seduction lane concept, right? Because I think it's very powerful. So, having set the stage for you, the investor seduction lane is a range of content dropped during your fundraising journey and distribute it in a considerable way to deliver your investment opportunity to investors. Well, that's a pretty rich sentence. So let's crystallize it. You know by now the investor seduction lane. It's to seduce your investor. There's a range of content that you control, that you distribute while you are getting investable, so preparing for fundraising, or while you're going out for fundraising, and you distribute that over LinkedIn, over email, over your website, through your WhatsApp connections with your investor. Everything you drip that in a way that you're constantly, without getting annoyed, but knowing that if you drip it, they think like, fuck, this lady, this dude is just killing it. And therefore, you're making the change, right? And therefore, you keep into the yes, hell yes, I want more. Let's start the hunt for funds. Let's get funded concept, right? So the concept goes beyond only a pitch deck, but engineers the anticipation lane to get investors excited, and more important, to keep them bloody excited, right? And even if they will not fund you, you will have left such a great impression that they will love you, right? I mean, there's nothing bad that people can say about you that is wrong in this case. So it's all about more show, less tell. I'm not sure if that's great English, but you get the point. Show more, and talk less. I think that will be better. Show more, talk less. Let them ask for more. Let me write that down, right? You will see that in one of the posts. So show more, talk less, get them ask more. Boom, very valuable concept, and that's what I always do. I love to talk about these kind of things, and I think like, okay, wow, this is a shorter way to bring that concept to life, because then it starts making sense for you. Show more of what you do, talk less about what you haven't realized. Better show. Show the proof, and then get them ask for more. So why is that then very important, right? So a range of supporting investment documents, orchestrated, I love that word, will drive investor curiosity, trust, and momentum. Do you remember that I kicked off this session today where I shared with you, you need to have that 100 no's. And if you know the 100 no's that an investor could have potentially, definitely pick up with the 100 questions that every investor will ask ebook, which is a part of our membership area. I mean, it costs less than a few dollars. Then you can prepare yourself, right? And you will use your content to convert his no's, right? And into hell yeses. So it's a method for you in a very sophisticated way to build confidence, trust, and illustrate you have your house, which is your company, in order. Everything, you're just on top of your game. That results in getting investor attention. And not, by the way, only investor attention, because sometimes we already focus here on investors. But having this mindset, having this attitude, you're just crushing your game. You're getting more clients. You're doing your stuff right? And it will drive more revenue. It's also the ideal method to outcompete all of those no-nos who come to ask for a one-night stand with your investor, right? It just simply doesn't work. And you will outperform yourself, because you will not close the deal in 1 day or 1 week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks. It's not going to happen, right? Maybe 60 days. But imagine that you do this very right. I trust you. You have a great opportunity to get shit done, right? And let me take this moment as well, that if you want help to engineer this road for you, make fewer mistakes, get your house in order, then book a call with us, and I'm very happy to support and help you. It's not an obligation, right? And therefore, I'm trying to over deliver on the content that we're doing, but give it a shot, right? I mean, there's a 30-day money back guarantee, but there's as well 75% of the founders is raising a ticket of money, which makes them help their dreams come true, right? So I have learned at the time when I was 35 to really use experts to get shit done. Anyway, that's in line with the similarities of our dating framework, and we want to excite other parties and let them fall slowly in love with you and your business. Now, just imagine, you need to convince less, right? Convince less, and they will just queue up for you, right? Because you are different. We're looking for people that are different. That, as far as we can judge as investors, we want at least to see, like, oh, hey, this makes a lot of sense. This person is different. He is or she is on top of their game. So always stay compelling and interesting is perfect to measure investor interest. You see as well if they are responding to you, if they're opening up their emails while not asking for anything yet. So you don't want to reveal anything. Now, how to do it? You want to drive anticipation by dropping your investment content like a funnel, right? Don't rush, but instead prepare your fundraise in advance, right? Instead of only focusing on one pitch deck and full-fledged financials, spread out your content, sprinkling it over your journey, and keep curiosity. Investment documents are documents to deliver your investment opportunity, but I like to say this, what we call mastering the investor seduction lane. You have an investor connect. What I call, which I'll tell you more about soon, is the investor authority checks. Then you start reaching out to them. You give them your elevator pitch. You tease them with everything in your email. Keep on teasing them. There's the investment teaser that comes behind it. Then there's the discovery meetings. Then there's the investor updates. There's the pitch decks. There's the raise meetings. There's more authority checks. There's the due diligence meetings. There's the authority check. There's the closing phase. And there's again the authority check. Now, what are authority checks? For those who pay attention, you see a dollar sign, right? And on the right top, we have a small heart. And on the left button, we have a bigger heart. Our goal is, by engineering this content, which is more like a schematic overview, to let the investor fall in love with us. So the authority check are your press releases, your partnership deals, your new hires, your investor Q&A list, right? Your investment updates, your client testimonials, maybe your podcast, your interviews, your product demos, your revenue updates. So it's indicating that you're growing, and what do investors want? They invest in your future, and future is growth. And the way you drive growth is by illustrating that you're a growth machine, right? So master the investor seduction lane. So we engineer a lane, aka a road of documents distributed by email, by LinkedIn, by maybe specific newsletters, by investor relationship pages that we have online, and we entice them with short elevator pitches. We have pre-recorded video pitches with less than 3 minutes of content to give an exciting overview of your business. We have 1 to 3 pages investment teasers in the PDF walking through the top level of the opportunity. We have 12 to 15 page pitch decks, briefing and exciting them about the opportunity. We have our discovery meetings where we don't do anything. We have our pitch calls. We have startup metric scorecards to show, hey, amigo, I'm doing very well, revealing the data that indicates growth. We have financial models and projections. We have access to data rooms. We have a perfect way to combine that with authority boosters, right? So it's the authority checks and the authority boosters that are newsworthy graphics, videos, worksheets that you can share with your investor on social media, email, and these authority boosters allow you to keep in contact. Let's say something bleeds to death. The investor is not responding to you. Imagine that you have lined up these authority checks, these authority boosters, to tell them, hey, I'm alive. And you can see if they still have interest in you. So some authority boosters are, again, pieces of content to illustrate you and your business are professional, trustable, confident, organized, growth and milestone driven, which is similar to driving valuation, driving growth. You're on top of your game, and it helps you again to be different than the rest. Yesterday we talked about moving from the red ocean to the blue ocean, right? And that leaves a great impression. So it's your target to mix your authority boosters with your investor documents. So as you could see here, right, we have engineered not only the pitch, but we have multiple items that are very important. So example of these authority boosters are you engineer a video interview with one of your best clients. You share it. Hey, this dude is talking great about us, and don't make it a 45-minute Netflix episode. Make it a 3, 4, maybe 5-minute video and send it to a engineer to make it shorter. So it's exciting. It's turbulent. It's in movement, dynamic. Use your email confirmations for your appointments to share great stuff. Build the momentum. Share client testimonials in a nice way, right? Show that you are on top of your game, that you're solving problems. Host a podcast, join a podcast, share the podcast, the small little segments of it. You got maybe a new product innovation. You want to make a product demonstration that you have been recording. Maybe you have collected some questions from the investors, from other investors that you want to share, current investor testimonials from your existing investors. Maybe you have done a press release recently about a raise, about an expansion. You want to use your investment updates. You want to use your company partnerships and deals. The list goes on and on and on, right? So the goal is that you handle it with care. Don't overkill your investor. Sprinkle them at the right time, at the right moment. And by doing so, you need to sell less, and instead they will sell themselves to you. Very powerful concept. Now, this brings me to the end of this almost 25-minute session, which I think is, again, valuable stuff for you. And at least it sprinkles, hopefully, also some seed of inspiration in your brain. But in the next day of our 7-day Fun Fast series, which is close to the end, we're going to talk about the concept that I believe is so interesting and is a very logical sequence of everything else what we have been doing. We're going to talk about getting you oversubscribed, which means you have more investors lining up for you, and therefore you get better deals. Now, once you master your investor seduction lane, and you engineer your content, then getting oversubscribed becomes a very natural process. And again, your fundraise journey will look something similar like I have just been showing you. Now, as usual, if you want help, right? If you want to go faster, if you want to avoid costly mistakes, if you don't want to screw up investor opportunity, if you want to make sure that your pitch deck is done in the right way, if you want to make sure that someone looks over your shoulder, that's what we do in the accelerator, where we have a private Slack group. Imagine you're going to an investor meeting and or even to the toilet, or even during a Zoom call, you say like, okay, hey, sorry, let me tune out for 2 minutes. I quickly need to go to the toilet. You asked a question in the Slack group about something difficult that an investor is asking. That's what the accelerator is all about, right? It starts from $1,100 per month, of course, not on a yearly base. But I just want to make this accessible for everyone. And up till right now, 75% of the people that are joining, yeah, they are just crushing it, and they get their meetings and they get funded. So from mental health platforms to digital banks to influencer marketing platforms to co-working spaces, our clients, our students have a high variety. And the great stuff is we're doing this together, right? So you're making new friends along the way. We're helping you to make less mistakes, and we're helping you to sign these deals for 50, 100,000 or 150,000. And again, this is not my full-time job, of course, as I do other stuff, but it's my duty to have 2 calls a week, including a whole membership area with very valuable content, including my team of engineers, developers, of designers, of associates, and analysts to help you get funded. So, without further ado, let's start the hunt for funds. Let's get funded. See you tomorrow in the oversubscribed session, and I wish you an amazing day. Thanks, ladies. Thanks, gentlemen. Take care.